this series we'll be discussing about functions in C++ and how to overload them, how to define them, mostly everything about functions. So let's just start. So functions in C++ follow a strict convention. They have to first return the return type of the function. So for example, the return type is int. Then you have to define the name of the function. So for example, my name is sum, and then you have to pass in the arguments. So for example, I want to pass an int as an argument, or just say I want to pass two ints as an argument, and then comes the body of the function. So as you can see, that's the body, that's how a function is defined. And now you also have to return, since you passed in an int as a return type, you also have to return int. So let's say I'll just sum the function. So there you go. There's another method to define a function, and that is basically you just say that, hey, I have a function in sum int xy, but it's defined below. So you don't have to define it here. You just have to declare it in the top of the body, and you can define it below wherever you want. It's pretty useful for big projects because you don't want it to get too cluttered. So that's one of the things. And you can also define default arguments. So for example, you want y is equal to 0, but the just be careful that all the parameters with default arguments have to come after normal parameters. So for example, I cannot say x is equal to 0, but y is a normal parameter. So it will throw an error. So as you can see, so but you can say y is equal to 0 and int z is equal to 0, something like that, or 3 or something like that. So all the default arguments or the default parameters have to be at the end after the normal arguments, and that's one of the things. And also you can overload the your function name. So for example, I can say that instead of passing ints, I want to return a float, right? So just say float x, and oh, sorry, typo. Okay, so I overloaded this sum function with another. I don't want it to be defined like this. I want to define it like this. So I overloaded it. So now I can use two sum functions. I can use it with three ints, or I can use it with one float. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but just wanted to get the idea. So yeah, that's most of the things that I wanted to discuss in this uh, tutorial. So let's also just have a quick example. So for example, let's use the first. Oh, we have to define it. So let's say it takes this and it returns the sum. Okay, this is the first function. And let's define the second function. So let's define the second function real quick. Okay, so just it returns x plus, let's say, 1. So right, it just adds 1 to the input. So let's say x is equal to sum and 1 2 3 and sum, uh, let's pass it 5, right? Okay, so now technically it should display 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 6, and that invokes the first function, and sum 5 because let's pass it a float. Yeah, it will also work with int, but that's due to another reason. But just pass it a float, and I'm just seeing why does it give me this error. Call to sum is ambiguous. Okay, that's new. Oh, okay. So I have to explicitly define it as float. So let's say float 5.0 and just pass it as float. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Pass it as X. Okay, that works. And then you just have to, as you can see now, it should print the sum of 1 to 3, that is 6, and some X will invoke this function, that will invoke this function, and it should print 6. That's that should be the answer. So let's build it and just see. Hmm. Yeah. So as you can see, the answer is 6 and 6. So sum X, that is sum 5, uh, return 6, and that this function also returns 6. So this is one of the things that is cool about C++, and you can do it a lot neater with templates. So templates are also a really cool thing in C++. So you don't have to do it like this, but I think you should know how to do like the basic way, and then only you can understand how to do templates. So yeah, that's all that I wanted to discuss about functions, and yeah, see you next time. Thank you.